What's up, Apex fans? Today for you I have a Apex Legends Nintendo Switch beginner's guide, including tons of tips and tactics to get your first kill and your first win. Or hey, if you're already a seasoned veteran, I think you're going to find some great tips in here to pass on to your friends that you're trying to get into the game. So in each game, the first choice you need to make is choosing your character. And early on, you're only going to have 6 characters to choose from. I'm going to get straight to the point and suggest that you select Lifeline as a beginner. And one of the main reasons for this is that she just has easy to use abilities. Each character has a passive, a tactical, and an ultimate ability. And as a beginner, it can be tough to figure out how and when to use those abilities. And Lifeline's tactical ability is just simply her healing drone. So it's easy to remember when you're almost dead that you should use that healing drone. And not only is it going to heal you, but also your teammates. Also, Lifeline's ultimate ability is easy to use. She's simply able to call down a care package, which is going to give you and your squad more equipment. You can certainly call that care package down during a fight to provide you cover, but at the end of the day, it's not something that has to be timed perfectly and is not only going to help you out, but your teammates as well. And last but not least, Lifeline has a great passive ability where she can use her healing drone to revive down teammates. This passive is really important when I talk about playstyle later in the video. But now that you have your character selected, the next thing you need to do is find a place to drop on the map. And Apex Legends does have several maps, so I'm going to give you some general advice here. For your first few games, don't drop at any of the major points of interest. Drop at some of the smaller locations that may only have one other squad or maybe no other squads, and that way you can gather up your loot and then head to one of the major points of interest, already armed and ready for a fight. And I'll add one more point to this, and that is that you should land in the same place, and then once you feel comfortable with that location, move on to another one. It's not always possible, but it is a good way to learn one section of the map at a time. And once you do land at hopefully a smaller point of interest, it's going to be time to find some loot. And a big part of finding loot is selecting a good gun for a beginner. Now there's lots of gun guides out there that are going to tell you what the top tier guns are, but a lot of those don't take into consideration that you might be a beginner. But as this is a beginner's guide, I'm going to suggest 2 guns as your loadout that I think are just easy guns to use, and that is the assault rifle known as the Hemlock and the shotgun known as the EVA 8. Neither of these guns have a lot of recoil and are easy to control even for a beginner. So before your first few games, I'd suggest logging into the training grounds and getting some practice with these 2 guns, the Hemlock and the EVA 8. It's also a good idea to look at which attachments go with these guns so you're familiar with that during the game. And I'd also get some practice with the G7 Scout as well as the Mastiff shotgun. Again, I think those are 2 other guns that are single shot and they're pretty easy to control and keep on point during a firefight. So let's quickly take a look at some gameplay footage here of me using the Hemlock and EVA 8 to good effect, and then we'll talk about the playstyle I think beginners should use.
Also right here. Killed an enemy.
Oh, you ain't messing around. Down 1.
Killed an enemy.
So obviously the Hemlock assault rifle is what you're going to use at mid-range, and then the EVA 8 shotgun is what you're going to use in close. I'd suggest using the Hemlock in single fire mode, and you can do that by just hitting the left side of the D-pad. Also, it's important to understand that the EVA 8 is an automatic shotgun, so you can just hold down the trigger button and it's going to fire over and over again. But moving on here from guns that are easy to use, let's talk about the best playstyle for a beginner and your first few games that'll hopefully allow you to get your first kill and possibly even your first win. And that is a more passive playstyle. As you're just trying to figure out the game, I don't think it's a good idea to run in guns blazing. I suggest as a beginner playing Lifeline using something like the Hemlock that you stay behind your other teammates, let them draw fire, find cover behind something, and add in supporting fire from a distance. Legends. If one of your teammates goes down, you'll be able to assist them as lifeline and quickly revive them, as well as help heal them up using your tactical ability, the healing drone. Or if your squad is able to down one of the opponent's squad members, then you can take out your EVA 8 and charge forward, trying to finish off the remaining 2 enemy squad members. Let's take a quick look at me trying to employ this playstyle, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about strategy and how to get your first win.
Loud and clear, hermana.
Hostile over there.
I hear you. Rápido.
Getting shot at. Phasing. Firing.
Taking fire. Down, down.
All squads down. We made the right.
Charging up my shields.
Reloading.
So one of the reasons that the Battle Royale genre of games is so exciting, but also so difficult, is the fact that you can have enemies coming at you from all sides at any moment. But there certainly is a way to limit this, and that is as the ring is closing in, stay fairly close to the edge of the ring. Certainly in the later rounds of the game, this is a great strategy to help prevent third parties, and if you do charge into the middle of the map during these later rounds, then you're more likely to get surrounded and attacked by several squads at once. So stick to the edge of the map near the ring and slowly work your way in, and you should find yourself in a good position come late game. And then lastly, I suggest you wait for 2 other squads to start fighting and then join the chaos and fun of that fight. Just always keep your eye on the ring and where it's closing in, and I'm sure before you know it, you'll end up with your first win in Apex Legends. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit of gameplay of the end of a game so that you're familiar with what it looks like once you get to that stage.
Target down. Recharging shields. Rings nearby. Recharging my shields. Rings around the corner. Team left. Enemy down.
We're all outside the ring, and a wall of death is coming our way. Enemy down.
Reloading.
Enemy killed.
So hopefully you enjoyed this beginner's guide. Remember that I'm Apex Mike, and this is the home of Apex Legends on Nintendo Switch. So hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow for more.